All right, folks, we are back. It is the Alex Jones Show. I am Jason Burma, sitting in for Alex. I want to remind everybody to go to Infowars.com and pick up a copy of my latest film, Fabled Enemies. Deals with really the intelligence ties with the Mossad, the Pakistani ISI, the continuity of government program here in the United States, and 9/11. But right now we have Webster Tarpley, who, of course, is the author of Synthetic Terror, and, of course, Obama, the Postmodern Coup. Thanks for being on, Webster.
Another book, an even newer one, called Barack H. Obama, the Unauthorized Biography. So I've got two on Obama this year.
Excellent. Well, obviously, I mean, let's get right into it. We're 1 week away from the election. You've been very anti-Obama. I mean, I'm not saying you're pro-McCain, obviously, or not, but why? For our audience, why don't you give an overview of why you think he is the much more dangerous candidate?
Well, the short answer is because he's a fascist, and that is something unlike any other candidate seen so far. And in order to get into this, you've got to really go back and look at what fascism was, which is not what Naomi Wolf, or Naomi Klein for that matter, or this guy Britt, or others are going to tell you, or for that matter, Jonah Goldberg. There's a whole cottage industry to try to obscure what fascism was. Fascism is not a top-down dictatorship that becomes more and more stringent and oppressive, and you get a complete police state from the top down. For that, you wouldn't need a new term. That would just be a police state dictatorship or a tyranny or despotism or something like that. Fascism has another component, which is a demagogic, pseudo-revolutionary, hyper-revolutionary mass movement. And that's got to have grassroots cover. It's got to be anti-authoritarian. It's got to be radical. It's got to be leftist. It's got to be anti-establishment. And the only candidate in the field right now who has that is, of course, Obama. He's got this legion of Kool-Aid drinkers and fanatics, people who are devoted to a personality cult of Obama and not to any set of issues. And there's a kind of utopian, apocalyptic aspect to this, that what's going to come out of this is not just policies that might be better or might be worse, but it's a radical renewal of the world, a renewal of the human personality, and so forth. And this is the most dangerous stuff you can get. So I would say right now the biggest danger is a seizure of power by the repo clique, by the Reid, Pelosi, Obama clique. That would essentially be the Mussolini fascist corporate state. And again, corporate in this case means a guild. It doesn't mean a modern corporation in the way that Mussolini used it. And that would be pretty much, you've got the fascistization of the economy through the $700 billion bailout for Goldman Sachs. That has set up what amounts to a compulsory state-sponsored cartel to drive down wages, to drive down production, but to shore up this $1.5 quadrillion derivatives bubble that we're stuck with.
Well, let's get into the bailout in a minute, and I want to talk about what you just said about Obama, because I can't help but agree with you that he does have like this rock star image where people do follow him. I mean, I've seen more artwork that spooks me out, that reminds me more of like, you know, Maoist propaganda and these you know, portraits of him in like blue and off red. It is spooky to me there. And I do see where you're coming from on the fascist end as well, but are we really going to see that much of a difference than someone like McCain coming in, who really looks like, I mean, no offense, but a walking corpse? I mean, I don't think he's going to make many decisions except for that on behalf of the establishment. I agree that he probably will not be able to coerce the people as easily. This guy Obama is definitely a charismatic guy. He's a good speaker, and he has been able to get away with, again, campaigning on almost nothing, just on his words and his personality. I don't know of any campaign points such as, you know, getting us out of Iraq. I don't see that happening. People believe that, but it's just a de-escalation. They'll really never be out.
It's quite the contrary, if I may. Obama is the biggest warmonger in the field. Obama is a bigger warmonger than McCain. Obama is personally committed to bombing the hell out of Pakistan. He's very, very strong on that. And he started with that already a year ago this summer in Chicago, demanding the unilateral U.S. bombing of Pakistan, and no two ways about it. He repeated that in his Denver convention speech, saying, we've got to go and get bin Laden at the cave where he exists. Now, the world has changed. Nobody, not even these characters, have any serious interest in this bin Laden, Al-Qaeda, 9/11 war on terror. This is not what they're doing now. They're attacking Pakistan because it's a Chinese ally. The world has radically shifted, and Obama, of course, is a key part of the shift. We no longer have a neocon Bush-Cheney regime in Washington. What we've got is a Rice-Gates-Mullen-Paulson regime, which is run by trilaterals, Bilderbergers, people like Goldman Sachs, Soros, David Rockefeller, and so forth. And the target list has changed radically. Pakistan is the target because it's a Chinese ally. Biden is famous for his anti-Sudan tirades, and it's not about bin Laden and al-Qaeda, it's that you need a humanitarian invasion. He says we've got to go in and save the people from genocide. Now,
but don't you think they'll also sell the public with that?
All right, let me finish the point.
Sure.
The point is that what they're after is to cut off the oil to China. Everybody knows that China gets 6, 7, 8% of their oil from Sudan. So the whole strategic map has changed. The people that are caught in the left liberal universe, they still don't understand this. They still think that they're dealing with Bush, Cheney, and the neocons, and that there's going to be an attack on Iran. I don't think there will be. There's an attack on Pakistan that's going on every day. There's an imminent attack on Sudan, and above all, the whole thing has shifted with Georgia being played against Russia by these people. We're now looking at confrontations in Central Europe. So the short answer to your question is, which imperialist do you want to fight? Do you want to fight a demagogic imperialist of the type of Obama, who promises a facelift for the Anglo-American policy, who can turn out 200,000 German lemmings in Berlin, who's got this legion of Kool-Aid cultists? Or do you want a tired old reactionary, a lame duck, a transitional figure, someone who would be facing, like McCain, facing a Congress that would be very hostile to him because they would feel that they had been robbed of their one-party state? I think what you really hope to get out of this thing, and it's a very modest program, is divided government. We want gridlock. We don't want bipartisan unity around new bailouts of the type that Goldman Sachs is demanding. We don't want the Social Security Trust Fund to be looted in this attempt to prop up the derivatives bubble. So Obama is simply more dangerous and more effective. If you want to organize the Third World War, you need Obama. You're not going to get anywhere with McCain because nobody in Europe is going to deliver money or troops to the U.S. based on McCain's face. McCain can't go to Africa and say, brothers, join with me and kick out these Chinese interlopers. Obama can do these things. He's more effective for imperialism, and I'm basically in the business of trying to make imperialism weaker rather than stronger. That's, I think, a way to approach the election.
Well, I hear you there, Webster, but I just feel in my heart I can't vote anything but my heart. You know, I can't vote for the lesser of two.
Basically, expose Obama for what he is, and the people will do the rest. Right now, again, the worst possible outcome is Obama, Pelosi, and Reid. Mm-hmm. That is a government that will, among other things, try to shut down this radio program. The whole Genesis network would be a target for hate crimes and for what they call the fairness doctrine.
Do you think Cindy Sheehan has a shot against Pelosi in the seat for...
I wish her well. I hope she does the best she can, and I hope she at least embarrasses Mrs. Pelosi as much as possible. But the question of dictatorship, see, one thing is, you know, the FBI comes and harasses you. That's what we've seen with the Patriot Act. And it's clear that has limits. You get to a point where the police and the secret police are not enough, and the army cannot be relied on. And that's the classic point where the financiers, the Soros, Rockefeller, Goldman Sachs types, turn to a mass movement of gutter snipes and hooligans and thugs and goons and fervidly idealistic students. And that's pretty much the Obama, this legion that he's got, the sort of left liberals who they've been so blinded by their hatred of Bush and Cheney that they have imitated them in many ways, and they're now interested in suppressing free speech. They want to shut you down if you criticize their idol, and they bring to this a religious fanaticism that you just don't see on the other side. There's no group in this society that is 1,000% devoted to McCain, and this simply means that Obama is by far the most dangerous. So if you come out of it with McCain and a Democratic Congress, let them fight each other to a standstill. That's the most you can hope for. I don't know what else you can hope for.
I guess I've become intellectually lazy that Hillary was going to be given the nomination, and we would just continue as we had, because I figured if Bush was going to create this police state, if he's going to leave it, he's going to leave it to someone that's going to continue on that thing. And I think while we were all sleeping, and maybe you could speak to this or maybe you disagree, that this thing that Tarpley talks about, I used to think he was a windbag, really, but I got to listening to him. This whole Obama thing and the fascism thing, he's on to it, and I think that maybe we've sleptwalked through this, and we're going to get a dictator that everybody loves.
Rick in Reno?
Scary than one that's, that's hated.
Well, let me say this. I'm definitely fearful of that. I think Tarpley has somewhat of an ultra perspective on, Obama bringing, super fascism to the United States. I don't see that. But I do, unfortunately, I differ from Mr. McGovern, and I do see him bringing in more globalization. I did not like his speech in Berlin again. 1.5 million man youth brigade talking about global citizenship. He seems to be on the wrong side of the coin on the carbon tax debate, and I think a lot of people are going to love him. Like I said, I disagree with Tarpley, where he says that Obama isn't that well spoken and he stutters and stammers. I don't see that much at all, and I watch him in extended periods of time. I see him as a confident man who can look you in the eye. He can orate well, and he is good with his hands and his head motion. He's very good at answering questions and seeming credible and smart. So, I don't see that